first road walk. Soon after breaking camp and getting underway, I arrived at Middle Canyon Tank. I was quickly learning that on the Arizona Trail, one could not be too picky about water sources this time of year. Many of the small sinews of water flowing between rocks were quickly drying up, as the winter rains and mountain snows were far enough gone. That also meant that many of these natural cattle tanks were slowly drying up too. But equipped with a good water filter system meant that regardless of the color of water or presence of floaties, I would be able to keep my body as hydrated as possible in the hot, dry desert climate. The new trail section I had just completed was so new that the GutHooks app I was using on my phone to keep track of where I was on the trail had not been updated yet to include this new section. So long, wide, fresh trail, hello rocky single track. My fourth day on the Arizona Trail would find me traipsing up and down in the Coronado Hills. Climbing out of a valley brought incredible views as I crested a hill before plunging down into the next valley. A rhythm that would be repeated through most of the day. As I made my way further west, the next mountain range the trail would traverse began to slowly increase in size on the horizon.
The Coronado Hills are broken up into two ACT passages. Having completed the 14.5-mile Coronado East Passage, I now ventured into the 16.6-mile Coronado Hills West. The nice thing about this new passage is that it would finish up in the town of Patagonia and a return to civilization.
This day was a hot one, so while it was great to pull up to Down Under Tank, there was very little shade to be found amongst the scrub brush. It was also pretty obvious the cattle herd had recently been through here, as it was also tough to find a clear patch of ground not covered in cow patties.
Do I look hot? There is always something to feast the eyes on this trip. Here I came across a mesmerizing grain tracing across this downed tree. In my best art critic voice, I named this piece Picasso in Wood. Despite being a desert, spring brings lots of color to the harsh landscape. Sometimes a single dash of color lies against the rocky background, whereas there are times when a field of color flanks the trail. Remember, leave an open gate open and a closed gate closed. Today I came across my first group of bike truckers. The AZT is a non-motorized multi-use trail. That means that one can expect to come across truckers on bike and horseback.
Hello, Mr. Mukau. Beep beep. Beep beep. Hello. How are you, number 560? Are you having a good cow day today? Hello. 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 Hey, Mr. Cow. Mrs. Cow, sorry. Oh, are you through hiking? Are you through hiking the Arizona Trail? Are ya? Oh, is that your home? Looks like it by the amount of poop down there. Oh. Is that your casa? Is that the moo casa? You have a good day. Bye-bye.
Cot Tank was a most welcome rest stop early in the afternoon. There were a few calves grazing around the tank with their mamas when I arrived, so I cautiously made it known to the mamas that I would like to take a rest here and top up my water, and that I posed no harm to the little ones. Like anywhere, never get too close to a mama and her baby, especially when mama weighs in at over 1,000 pounds. Surprises on the trail abound, so when I saw an old gear mechanism intertwined in the branches of an old tree, it seemed somewhat normal. Just as it was normal to see the remains of an old foundation lying just off the side of the trail. The first rattlesnake encounter almost made me wish I was wearing a pair of Depends. Shortly after leaving Cot Tank, the trail passed a rock outcropping. Hidden just past this rock, and just off to the side of the trail, was a rattlesnake hidden in the grass. It is amazing how quickly the basal ganglia, aka the reptilian part of the brain, can process the very distinct sound of a rattle. Once a safe distance and the brain's frontal lobe had a second to determine that there was no longer a threat, breathing and heart rate returned to normal. One's first encounter with a rattlesnake that is letting you know that you're getting too close to him is unforgettable. As I gave Mr. Blacktail Rattler a wide berth, I was able to get a good look at him. Wow! As you can see, he was in full strike pose and still facing the direction he had been approached from.
By the end of this 4th day on the trail, I had developed a routine. My morning alarm clock was when the sun heated my tent up to a temperature that told my body to crawl out of my sleeping bag or risk being cooked. It was usually around 8 or 8:30 by the time I had breakfast and struck camp and set off for the day. By early evening, when the sun began to draw long shadows across the trail, it was time to look for a spot to set up camp. It typically worked out that by the time I set up, heated up, and consumed supper, the sun had set and dusk was darkening. I ended each day by writing up notes from my day on the trail and then some reading under the illumination provided by my headlamp. If you enjoyed watching this video, hit the thumbs up button below and also click to share it. Each week I will be posting a new video on YouTube showing my next steps along the Arizona Trail, so click the bell below and be notified when a new video is posted.
The evening shadows that resulted in haunting dark tree silhouettes were replaced each morning by sun-soaked trees. There was a snap to my steps today as the trail was leading towards my first town on the trail. The thought of a shower, a good meal, and a comfy bed was beckoning in the distance. I encountered my first swath of flowering plants this morning. The wide spaces between the scrub trees were populated by yellow desert poppies. Exiting this section of the Coronado National Forest meant that I was getting closer to civilization.
A final descent out of the Canelo Hills led down to Highway 82. Its asphalt would take me into Patagonia. The appearance of Red Mountain was sure sign that the gentle hills were indeed behind me, and a return to the mountains lay ahead.
Jazzed that I was now on the road that would lead me the 3.2 miles into town was offset by walking on a hot, energy-zapping asphalt on a hot southern Arizona afternoon.
Road walk into Patagonia. 3 miles. And then the first rest stop. Can't wait.
Road walks certainly feel longer than when on the trail, so it seemed to take forever to cover the distance into Patagonia. When the town limit sign appeared, there was still 1 more mile to go to heaven. And voila! Taking a left turn off the highway reveals the small town of Patagonia. Yes. Interestingly enough, though, the main street of Patagonia is not called Main Street. but rather McEwen Avenue. Patagonia was founded in 1899 and served as a trading and supply center for the nearby mines and ranches. The stage stop inn was certainly a sight for tired legs. Since the inn is the only accommodations in town, it's a frequent layover for AZT hikers. Just upstairs from the lobby is a nice lounging area to sit back and relax. One can picture some rough and tough cowboys and some finely dressed top hatters sitting around this table tossing chips into the kitty as they drew deeply on cigars, peering at their cards, hoping their hand would come out on top. Behind the lobby is a very welcoming, shady courtyard, complete with a swimming pool. It also serves as an outdoor eating area for the Wild Horse Restaurant, which is attached to the inn. As inviting as the pool looked, a dirty hiker is not very inviting to look at, so hitting the shower was task number one. I was just hoping that washing 5 days of dirt grime off would not clog the drain. Cleansed and refreshed, the next task was mowing into a nice big meal. Despite a population of under 1,000 hardy folk, Patagonia is home to a number of restaurants. In keeping with the Western theme, I moseyed on up to the Wagon Wheel Saloon. Its interior decor did not disappoint, and neither did its menu. This enchilada plate hit the spot, as did a cerveza and about a gallon of ice-cold water. Being fed and looking presentable, it was now time to walk the length of downtown Patagonia, all 3 blocks of it. Built in 1898, the marshal's office did not look like an inviting place to stay a night behind bars. Now serving as the town hall, the old rail depot was built in 1900. Interesting to note that the town was named by miners who had arrived from the Patagonia region of southern South America, as the surrounding mountains was said to remind them of there. Reminiscent of 18th century Spanish religious missions is La Misión de San Miguel. Of course, nothing speaks to Americana more than an old-time boardwalk and a couple of harvests. For hikers hoping to replenish some of their trail food, Red Mountain Food offers up an okay selection. As the AZT grows in popularity, they are seeing more and more through hikers coming through town, so they are stocking more and more hiker-friendly food. Biting into a fresh apple tasted like $1 million, as any trail fruit had been dehydrated and added to breakfast porridge. If you remember back in episode 1, you will recall that I was able to enjoy a barbecued prickly pear cactus. Lo and behold, one can also enjoy prickly pear jelly. Unfortunately, there is no room for souvenirs when one still has hundreds of miles of trail ahead of them. Join me next week for the next episode of the Ambler Odysseys on the Arizona Trail. After a comfy night spent in Patagonia, it was time to get back on trail and head into the mountains once again. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to follow the Ambler Odysseys with Bill England. You can also follow along on my website, www.theamblerodysseys.info, and on the Ambler Odysseys social media channels.